So your child is coming to you as trans or non-binary, maybe even sent you this video, and you're wondering what this all means, what could come next. My name is Dr. Marcus Howard Jones, and I'm here to help. I'm the parent of a young child, and I have a doctorate in gender studies with a focus on trans communities. I also happen to be a trans person who came out at age 5, socially transitioned at 16, and medically transitioned at 19, so I know what I'm talking about. And this video is for you, parents, guardians, loved ones of a trans or questioning child. Maybe you feel overwhelmed, confused, even scared. First of all, let's take a big breath. You're here, you're watching this video because you care, and that matters a lot. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be present. In this video, I'll be going over the signs and stages before your child might come out, how to respond to that coming out conversation, what supporting your child through social transitioning can look like, how to act as your child's advocate, what mental health care they may need, what medical transition could look like, and giving you some resources at the end to continue your learning. So if your child's recently come out, you might be wondering, why didn't I see this coming? Were there signs that I missed? Or maybe your child hasn't come out, but you're noticing some things and wondering if you need to be proactive, if you should be intervening somehow. First, let me say there is no one-size-fits-all version of being trans. There is no single story that we all follow. Some children can be very vocal about how they identify. Some may not show any signs until they come and tell you personally. But if you're looking for a very clear breakdown of what gender identity and expression often look like throughout childhood, I recommend the Canadian Pediatric Society. They have a fantastic resource on this subject. The main takeaway, though, is this: experimenting with your gender identity and expression is a totally normal part of child development, from as young as age 2 or 3 all the way up into your teen years. What you're really looking for is insistent, persistent, consistent. Is your child insisting that this is their identity? Are they resisting being identified in any other way? Are they persistent about it? Are they saying this for 3 months, 6 months, a year, multiple years? And are they consistent? Whether or not it is a non-binary identity or a fluid identity or a binary one, whatever the case, however they've been vocalizing, are they consistently vocalizing themselves in that manner? If they fit these 3 categories, that is a sign that this is their genuine identity, and you should really be tuning into it. And even if they are just experimenting, there is no harm done by being a safe person for your child to tell, being someone who can support your child through all the different phases of their development. Now, for that coming out moment, it can be very overwhelming, especially if you don't really know any trans or non-binary people. You might be worried you're going to get this wrong, or maybe you've already had this conversation and feel like you potentially fumbled. Let's go over how to respond when your child comes to you and says, "This is how I identify." Stay calm. If you have big feelings, keep them inside for now, and then go vent with another adult, maybe your partner, a friend, a therapist. Be affirming. Even if you don't feel like your child was showing any signs of this, or maybe you're concerned about what it could mean for them socially, emotionally, focus on being there for your child in this moment. And don't presume. For instance, if your child tells you, "I feel like a trans man," don't jump to saying, "Well, we need to book your top surgery tomorrow." Let them take the lead on what this is going to look like. When in doubt, repeat what they've said back to them. I know it sounds basic, but it goes a long way. "Hey, Dad, I want to let you know I feel non-binary and I want to use they, them pronouns." You feel non-binary and want to use they, them pronouns. "Wow, I feel like you really heard me." It's that simple. And ask open-ended questions like, "How long have you been feeling like this? What would you like me to call you? Do you have a different name or pronouns you prefer? Would you like me to help you pick a new name? How can I support you?" And avoid outing your child. Like I said, it is fair if you need to talk to someone like a friend, loved one, therapist about this, but tell your child that's what you need to do and make sure that they understand. Also, make sure you don't out your child to people who are central in their life, like their schoolmates or teachers. Their coming out is their process. If you want to be a part of it, ask them what that could look like. And if you're struggling, that's okay. There are support groups. There are therapists who specialize in this. You can find the resources you need to succeed as a parent and be there for your kid. And if you're struggling with this, that's totally normal too. There are lots of support programs and resources for people in your situation. Get the support you need from your own community so you can be there to support your child. So after your child comes out as trans, a lot of people rush to thinking, oh my God, they're going to medically transition. What does that mean? But actually, most people begin with a social transition. Social transitioning is what it sounds like. Transitioning your gender socially. So for instance, coming out to friends, family, loved ones, changing your name or pronouns, changing how you dress, maybe getting a different hairstyle. Sometimes your child may not be ready to socially transition, or they may only want to do it in pockets, like say they come out at school, but not at dance class, or at home, but not at grandma's house. Social transitioning can be maybe a bit awkward for you because you have to get used to this new part of who your child is and maybe put yourself in a few difficult conversations, but it can be also the most crucial phase for your child to really understand that they are affirmed as they are. And they may go through a few different phases. They may try on different names or different ways of expressing themselves with clothing, and sometimes you may not get it. But what matters is just being a safe person they can tell and letting them know that you are working together as a team throughout all of this. Be patient. Let them take the lead. And if you're looking for ways to bond with each other, you could look for books or TV shows, movies with trans representation, and then share them with your kid. May I recommend one of my own young adult novels? Lots of trans kids struggle with their mental health, and people think that's because trans people in general have poor mental health, but actually it's often because we are lacking in social supports. That is why so many trans people frequently struggle with things like depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation. So your child's social transition is a critical time to help build up their support system. You can make a powerful difference for your child just by showing up for them, affirming them, accepting them as they are. And professional support helps too. Look for a therapist or community program that is tailored for trans youth or gender questioning youth. You may also want to look up the nearest trans community programming and see if they have something supporting young people. If their programming is only for adults, I recommend you go with them to the meetings just to ensure that they're getting appropriate support. But most often these places have a child's program or a youth program. During your child's social transition, you may notice their mood improve as they're able to share their identity and receive support. But many young trans people do still struggle with their internal self-image and their body. This is called dysphoria, when your internal sense of self does not match your external body type. And there are ways that you can support them through this. Getting them a new wardrobe can definitely help, and there are tips and tricks online about how to dress in a way that flatters your body type as a trans person. Trans masculine people will also often want to wear a binder, which can press their chest down to give them a flatter look. Make sure that you research safe binder usage and encourage your child to wear it appropriately, not for too long so that they don't hurt their body. And always buy a binder from a reputable seller, and never let your child bind with things like ace bandages or duct tape. Again, this is the risk of not supporting your child through their social transition, is they may access unsafe tools to achieve the results they're looking for. Now, I know the social transition phase is not just awkward sometimes, but even dangerous. You might be worried for your child's safety. You're not alone. There is a lot of anti-trans rhetoric out there, and unfortunately, trans youth are often targeted for hate and violence. If you're worried for your child's safety, talk to them directly about it and make a plan. Talk about what to do if they feel unsafe in public. Make sure they have a way to reach you quickly. Make sure that there is a safety contact if you are not available. You may also want to research the laws in your region to see if there are any that target trans people or if there's ones that could protect them. In very serious cases, you may even want to consider relocating if you are in a very unsafe region for trans people, but that can be extremely difficult. So make your plan and be their advocate. With your child's permission and support, you can show up and advocate for them at school. You could show up to local meetings, get involved in local politics, write letters to your representatives, make your voice heard. Don't leave your child to defend themselves alone. So many people think that it's just too risky for their child to be out, and they try to push their kid back into the closet. But really what that does is isolate them. The world has enough bullies. Be your kid's safety net. If your child has been consistent, insistent, and persistent, if they've begun their social transition and been at it for a while, They may be interested in pursuing medical transition. This is something that intimidates a lot of parents, especially if you've never met a trans person, and there is a lot of fear-mongering about it. Let me be clear that medical transition is extremely rare to begin with. Many trans children are just looking to socially transition, but if your child is interested in pursuing medical means, talk to them and their doctor about what that could look like. For adolescents, puberty blockers are a great option. They essentially pause puberty, giving your child time to explore their identity without any irreversible changes. They're perfectly safe, reversible, and often used in pediatric contexts for non-trans children who are experiencing early onset puberty. However, they are not a long-term solution. There will come a time where your child does need hormones in their body to develop appropriately. At this point, they may want to consider hormone replacement therapy, or HRT. Normally, your child would start on a very low dose of whatever the opposite sex hormone is. So let's say if you have a trans masculine child, they would take a very low dose of testosterone. This requires an examination by a doctor, blood work, and careful monitoring. Many of the side effects of hormone replacement therapy are reversible, but not all of them. So make sure you and your child are informed about what they're getting into. If you are concerned about your child's long-term fertility, you may want to explore fertility preservation options. For details on this, talk to your child's care provider. Now, in terms of surgical intervention, these are extremely rare for young people and almost never performed. In fact, bottom surgery is not legal for anybody under the age of 18 anywhere in Canada. However, some young people may be interested in other forms of surgery to help manage their dysphoria. If your child is asking about surgery, talk to their medical team about it. Some young people, for instance, may want their chests reduced to have a more masculine chest. That is available to some teenagers in Canada, but is a case-by-case basis. Some parents may feel relief knowing that their child legally cannot access certain types of surgery. Some may empathize with their child and the frustration that can come with having a body that feels like it doesn't match. Again, what matters is being present with your kid to let them know that you are there to support them through this process. And if they have to wait until they're 18 to have the surgery they're looking for, you will do everything you can in the meantime to ensure they're getting the support they need to manage their dysphoria, and that you'll be there when the time comes to help them through the surgical process. What matters really is that your child knows you are there for them, that you're working as a team on this, that they are not alone. Just as scary as it is for you to realize you have a child who is questioning their identity or looking to transition, it's even scarier and more confusing for your kid. You don't need to understand everything right away. I promise you, your child probably finds a lot of this confusing as well. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to love them insistently, persistently, consistently. Thank you for showing up, for watching, for caring. In the description of this video, you will find links to resources for parents, guardians, and loved ones in your position. Remember, you're not alone, and neither is your child. I wish both of you luck. And let me know if you would like more videos like this, or if there's any topics you'd like me to really delve into more deeply. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.